Have you ever wished you could enjoy a poached egg at home that looks and tastes just like the ones served in a five-star hotel? Smooth whites, a golden yolk that melts like cream, soft, delicate, and absolutely perfect. I know many of us have tried again and again, only to end up with broken yolks, stringy whites, or eggs that just don't look appetizing. But here's the good news: you don't need fancy tools or a chef's training. With just a few simple tricks, you can make poached eggs at home that are beautiful, tender, and so delicious. Today, I'll show you 4 foolproof methods, and once you see how easy they are, you won't want to miss the last method. It's the one I use most often at home, and it saves me so much time. Before we even start cooking, the very first step to making perfect poached eggs is choosing the right eggs. Freshness makes all the difference. When an egg is fresh, the whites are firm and cling closely to the yolk, which helps the egg keep its shape once it's in hot water. Older eggs, on the other hand, have watery whites that spread out and make poaching much more difficult. So, how can you tell if an egg is fresh? There are 2 easy ways. The first is by touch. A fresh egg feels slightly rough and has a thin, whitish layer on the shell. That's the natural protective membrane that keeps the egg safe. If the shell feels too smooth and shiny, the egg is likely older. The second way is by gently shaking the egg next to your ear. A fresh egg won't make a sound, the contents are firm and steady. But if you hear sloshing or rattling inside, it means the egg is no longer at its best. Once you've chosen fresh eggs, the next step is to clean them properly before cooking. It might look like the shells are clean, but remember, when a hen lays an egg, it passes through the same channel used for waste. That means tiny traces of dirt droppings or even harmful bacteria, like E. coli and salmonella, can still be on the shell. Taking a few minutes to clean your eggs makes them much safer to eat and keeps your cooking water fresh. Here's a simple way to do it. Add 1 tablespoon of salt and a pinch of baking soda into a bowl or small basin. Pour in enough cool water to cover the eggs, then gently stir until the salt and baking soda are completely dissolved. Place the eggs into the mixture and let them soak for about 5 minutes. The salt helps disinfect while the baking soda loosens any dirt clinging to the shells. After soaking, use a soft cloth or paper towel to gently wipe each egg clean. Finally, rinse the eggs under fresh water to remove any residue and set them on a plate to dry. Now your eggs are shiny, safe, and ready for cooking. Clean shells mean a cleaner, healthier poached egg. Method 1. Classic poaching with a sieve and vinegar. In Europe, so many famous dishes begin with eggs, and one of the most elegant ways to prepare them is by poaching. When you crack a fresh egg, you'll notice the whites come in 2 parts: a thick inner layer that clings to the yolk, and a thinner, watery layer that spreads out easily. If you drop the whole egg straight into boiling water, that loose white will scatter and the egg loses its beautiful shape. To avoid this, simply strain the egg gently through a small sieve. This removes the thin outer white, leaving the rich, thick white that wraps around the yolk. Now the water doesn't need to be at a rolling boil, just gently simmering. Add a splash of vinegar, which helps the egg whites set more quickly and hold together. Then with care, slip the egg right into the center of the pot. Within moments, you'll see the whites hug the yolk, forming a neat little bundle. After about 3 minutes, lift the egg out and let it cool briefly. When done correctly, the whites are smooth and tender, and the yolk flows like slow melting cream. I usually use this method to make poached eggs for my family's breakfast. It's simple, reliable, and turns out absolutely delicious. Method 2. Poaching with a ladle. Another simple way to make a neatly shaped poached egg is by using a ladle. After preparing your pot, fill it with just enough water and let it come to a gentle boil. This method is especially helpful if you'd like the egg to hold its round form without spreading out in the water. Take a clean ladle and add just a few drops of cooking oil. About 1/3 of a teaspoon is enough. Swirl the ladle so the inside is lightly coated. This thin layer of oil keeps the egg from sticking later. Now gently crack an egg directly into the ladle. By holding it in the ladle first, you're keeping the whites together and preventing them from spreading out in the boiling water. If you were to drop the egg straight into the pot, the loose outer white would scatter, create foam, and the yolk might even sink to the bottom and stick. Hold the ladle just above the boiling water for a moment, letting the steam and heat begin to set the egg. You'll see the white slowly firm up and hug the yolk. Once the egg looks partly shaped, gently lower the ladle into the pot. Because the egg has already started forming, it will keep a neat round appearance and won't break apart or stick to the pot. After about 2 to 3 minutes, carefully lift it out. What you'll have is a perfectly round poached egg, smooth whites, completely enclosing the yolk, soft and delicate with a golden center that melts like cream. It's beautiful on its own, or served over porridge or noodles for a light, comforting meal. Method 3. Steaming poached eggs. If you'd like an even simpler way to make poached eggs, one that's almost foolproof, try steaming them. All you need are a couple of small heat-proof bowls and a steamer pot. Begin by filling each bowl about 1/3 of the way with clean water. This little bit of water is important because it cushions the egg, allowing the whites and yolks to float gently and preventing them from sticking to the hot surface of the bowl. Now, crack 1 egg into each bowl. You don't need to stir or beat it, just let the egg settle naturally in the water. You'll notice how the whites and yolks spread evenly without clumping or breaking. Next, place the bowls carefully inside your steamer. Pour water into the steamer pot, bring it to a steady boil, then reduce the heat to medium and cover with a lid. The cooking time depends on how you like your eggs. For a soft, creamy yolk, steam for about 6 minutes. For a slightly firmer yolk, go for 7 to 8 minutes. Once the time is up, don't lift the lid right away. Leave the bowls inside for another 30 seconds, so the temperature stabilizes. This prevents sudden changes that could make the eggs shrink or break. Tell me in the comments, what's your favorite way to enjoy eggs at home? Finally, remove the bowls, pour off any leftover water, and gently scoop the eggs out with a spoon. What you'll have is a beautifully shaped poached egg, smooth round, with the whites wrapped neatly around the yolk. It's tender, delicate, and perfect for breakfast, with toast, porridge, or noodles. Method 4. Poaching in the microwave. If you're short on time or cooking just for yourself, the microwave method is quick, easy, and almost fail-proof. Start with a small heat-proof bowl and pour in just enough clean water to cover the bottom. Then crack 1 fresh egg into the bowl. Before microwaving, take a fork and gently prick the yolk, just a light poke, not enough to break it open. This simple step keeps the egg from bursting while it cooks. Now, place the bowl into the microwave. Set the temperature to medium-high around 350–400 degrees, and choose the cooking time based on how you like your eggs. For a soft, creamy yolk, 2 minutes is usually enough. For a slightly firmer center, go for 3 minutes. And if you prefer a fully set yolk, 4 minutes will do. Just remember, never go over 5 minutes or the egg may turn rubbery and lose its delicate texture. When the time is up, be careful, the bowl will be very hot, so make sure to take it out safely. Pour off any remaining water and you'll have a perfectly round poached egg with silky whites and a tender yolk ready to serve. I have to admit, I used to struggle with making poached eggs in the microwave. I tried it so many times, and almost every time the egg would explode inside the microwave. It was so frustrating, I thought maybe this method just wasn't for me. But then I realized I had been skipping one very small but very important step, gently pricking the yolk before cooking. Once I started doing that, everything changed. The eggs came out soft, round, and perfect every single time. Ever since then, I've never had a poached egg burst on me again. Once you've mastered poached eggs, you'll be amazed at how many dishes you can create, like topping them over avocado toast or even making a classic Eggs Benedict right at home. In my next video, I'll share another trick that makes everyday cooking easier and even more fun. Thank you for watching, stay well, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.